like I watched what's the stupid show on HBO? The one with the dragons.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I watched Game of Thrones. I gained nothing from it.
Stupid show. Listen, you bashed Michael Jackson last time, and now you're trying to say Game of Thrones is a stupid show.
Cool. We're up. Episode 3. Numero 3. See, I speak Spanish. I'm very cultured.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about you, but like I've had a whole lot of fun recording them, but the editing has been way more fun than I ever thought it would be.
Really? I think I would hate editing.
Well, it's like I'm like super into like learning programs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't know, like editing the episodes and even like cutting down the shorts and cutting up the small posts and pulling out the audio, like all that stuff's been super fun.
I have a hard time listening to myself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's not my favorite.
Like I can listen to other people all day.
Yeah.
And even like hearing myself talk now, I don't mind it. But if I just listen to it without me speaking, I sound like an idiot.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel like I sound a lot more country and like southern when I listen to it back than I feel like I sound in real life.
Yeah, I feel like if I listen back to me, it's like listening to somebody from Kentucky talk.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. I guess.
And I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm speaking that southern.
I don't either, but I don't know. I guess that's just we hear ourselves differently.
So you had, let's see. Okay, so we are recording. We don't do these live, so we're recording this a few days before New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
We'll post it on Monday, which will be, what is that, the 2nd? The day after New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys do New Year's resolutions?
Not really, not like in a serious way, but I do have one gym-related one.
Please.
So I'm going to try to start doing things at the gym that I don't normally do. Like, there's things at the gym that I'm just like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Like box jumps.
Box jumps or like handstand wall walks.
Wall walks are definitely a weird one.
Jumping over the bar for burpees. I usually just step because I don't feel like jumping. Just like little things that I'm like, no, I'm going to try to do, especially if I can do it, like jumping over the bar.
Just getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
So it's not, I don't know if it's not really a New Year's resolution. It's just I've got to do more than I do.
I mean, that's the main reason, like, people start working out is to change the routine. So now you've been working out for two and a half years, something like that.
2.5 years, yeah.
So now you've gotten used to doing the daily stuff. Now you got to break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's legit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I go like hard in the paint on New Year's resolutions for about 2 weeks.
I can see that.
And so far for like the last 3 years running, it has been organize my life.
Like literally?
Like, yeah. So every year, like I start out super, super detailed with like, I'll get a new organizer. Mm-hmm. Like I've never been one to like do an actual organizer and
like
write
a planner?
things. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Planner.
Yeah.
So, like, I've tried just about all of them. This year, 22, I got into have you seen the Full Focus planners?
No, I use a planner every day, but I have
so
my own system.
Full Focus is like based on like quarterly. Like it's a 1.5-inch thick planner for a quarter.
Okay.
And it breaks up, week, month goals, professional growth goals, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And I did really good at it for about a month.
I don't know how that works. So I have to use a planner because of work. Like
Yeah.
Every day I have to plan out like who I'm going to see and I have to do like my times. So, but I do it like the Sunday before my week starts. I go ahead and do like the loose plan, and then every morning before I start my day, I do the more detailed day plan.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your system is. But
So the way it's been working is like, with the full focus planner, like that's the one that I've done the longest.
yeah.
Like I'm definitely not doing it right now, but I've already like set myself up. Next week I'm starting fresh again. But it was you basically you break out, 20, 30 minutes in the morning just to knock out like what are your big three for the day? Like get three things that you can win for the day. It's all about winning the day, right? So don't put some grand like, make 30 new sales. Mm-hmm. It's something, that you can accomplish that day, and then you put some reach goals, right? So I have a hard time with to me, the reach goals are easy. I like looking the far out stuff, but
Yeah.
for me, it's what am I doing in the next 2 hours? That's because with what I do for work, it's so hectic that it's literally like being inside of a tornado all the time, because it's, this job over here calls in and this job over here calls in. They need all this material out in the next 2 days, and it's very hectic. And it's hard for me I'll sit down in the morning, and it almost feels like a defeat. So I'll sit down in the morning and I'll put down my big three. Well, I'll get one of those, and come 10 o'clock or 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, the rest of my day is blown up. Mm-hmm. Everything's gone.
Yeah.
And there's no way I'm going to hit the other two. So I always feel defeated. So that's one reason I kind of quit doing it. But I'm optimistic about 23. My job role's changing a little bit. I'm getting to a little bit more of a overseer position where I can try to look forward a little bit. But the organization, like I've seen, like I know you carry your little day planner, right? Mm-hmm. For me, my day planner is I get a list in the morning. All of if it's not in my Outlook calendar on the computer, like it's not happening. Like I tell Angie, if she wants me to do something with the kids, she better send me a calendar invite.
Well, so my planner is pretty much all work, and then my calendar on my phone is personal.
Yep.
And then I have just like normal routines. I mean, because we have 3 kids, and my 3 kids are in all kinds of crap, and none of them drive yet.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's just insane.
Your guys are hectic.
So we have a routine between me and Patrick where we kind of know, and we always touch base. It's so weird. It's like another like working partnership, because every night before bed we literally like
sit down and plan out who's doing what
the next day. We're like, if there's something unusual, if it's like a normal like Thursdays, for today's Thursday. So Garrett, our youngest son, has piano on Thursdays. So last night when we were going to bed, I was like, are you going to be home at 5 for Garrett's piano? Kids aren't in school, so everything's kind of wacky this week. And he's like, actually, piano teacher's coming at 1 because there's no school. But like I didn't even know that, because normally he's the one who handles piano, so like
yeah,
that change would come through him and not me. So like I don't know. It's very complicated, but it's actually very simple. Like, because we both know where we are, but without organization, I lose my mind, and that's in everything. Like my car has to be organized, my clothes have to be organized, my house has to be organized. My refrigerator, which is not organized right now, is driving me crazy because we're in the middle of switching the whole refrigerator situation. So everything for me has to be organized or I lose it.
I've been working a lot on my OCD-ness of like trying to just let things go that are out of my control, and that's been one of those hard things for me. Is
yeah, and I think some people try. And when I say my stuff is organized, I mean it's like loosely organized. Like,
yeah.
It's not like those TikTok videos where they have like a little.
Like, oh yeah. No, we're in my office right now, and you can look over here. Like I've got a jumble of wires under my desk, but they're under my desk and they're out of my sight.
Right.
So I'm good with it.
And I think a lot of people give up on organization because it's like not. It's like no, it just needs to be controlled.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be controlled so that.
Yeah, I don't need all the red pins together and the blue pins together. I just need all the pins in a jar.
Right. Yeah, because I have a friend who's a very messy person, just a very naturally messy person, And I think her issue is that she tries so hard. Like, she'll do that New Year's. She's like, oh, I'm going to do this, this, this. And she sets everything so perfect. And then, like, one thing falls out of place, and she's like, oh, forget it. And then it's,
I'm out.
it's like, oh, my gosh, you just put that one thing back. It's not really. So, yeah, it's more just a balance, I think.
Speaking of balance. So
that's good.
the other night, so I think last time we talked about my hatred of actually reading books.
Yes.
So the other night I was like, okay, as part of my New Year's resolution, I'm going to read. And I set out a goal I want to do. So have you seen like the 75 Hard stuff, the Andy Frisella, like 2 workouts a day, you have to read 20 pages out of a book, all that kind of stuff. I'm not doing all that, but I wanted to like take pieces of it, right? So like I was like, okay, if I can make myself read 20 pages out of a nonfiction book every day.
Why does that have to be nonfiction?
It's all about self-improvement. So that's part of that 75 Hard program is more about self-improvement stuff more than I don't do fiction well anyway.
You can learn self-improvement through fiction though.
Like I watched what's the stupid show on HBO? The one with the dragons.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I watched Game of Thrones. I gained nothing from it.
Stupid show. Listen, you bashed Michael Jackson last time, and now you're trying to say Game of Thrones is a stupid show.
Okay, everybody that watched the finale of Game of Thrones knows that it was a stupid show.
They
could have taken it for 4 more seasons and explained everything, but instead they just went, boop, we're done.
The first 98% was amazing. The last 2% sucked, but you can't say the show sucked when only just a little tiny fraction sucked. And the new one's really good. The House of Dragon.
I started watching it. I haven't made it very far.
It's really good. But
so
anyways.
I started reading. And I was reading about Stoicism, all that kind of stuff, like Greek philosophers, because I've always been interested in that kind of thing. But so the whole time I'm reading, like I've got this inner monologue going in my head that's my eyes are reading and I'm comprehending the things on the page. But in my head, I'm going, oh, I can apply this there and I can apply this there. And I'm talking to myself in my head. So it dawns on me like, can I listen to music while I read? Maybe that'll shut me up. So I text Mary, and I go, hey, can I listen to music while I read? She goes, no, you're supposed to, like, just read and, like, enjoy the story. So what's funny is I'm reading on my iPad, and I've got the pages on the left and the text message thread on the right. So I send her a screenshot. I'm like, this is, like, the epitome of my life is I can't do one thing. I'm literally texting and reading at the exact same time.
If you're going to try reading, you need to do nonfiction. I mean, you need to do fiction. You need to do something that envelops your mind. Like,
so you say that, but I honestly, after like we stopped texting the other night, I was able to like almost like transport myself back to like Greek times and like think like how these guys are thinking. Like I know that sounds a little weird because it is like nonfiction. It's stories about their life, but it does kind of get you there, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't all magic and unicorns, but
yeah.
I actually got in. I ended up reading 100 pages that night.
Well, that's good. I mean, and maybe it'll work for you. I just find it really boring. I don't really like nonfiction because.
Well, see, I'm also like you watch murder mystery shows, and I watch History Channel.
I watch History Channel too. I love history.
Well, I guess murder mystery shows is history now, right?
Yeah, true. More current history. But like, I mean, like I was, I was big into like Latin in school, and like we did all the like Iliad, Odyssey, like all of those like.
I hate those.
But they're so interesting. Like once you get into them, or like Dante's Inferno, that's great.
I've never read it.
It's so like you can just literally be there, like going through the levels of hell. Like I like that kind of stuff. I don't want some dude telling me, "Oh, close your eyes and imagine a cleaner lifestyle." I don't need all that. I like the.
I mean, it wasn't like close your eyes and imagine a cleaner lifestyle.
I don't, and that's what I have a problem with current. Like I don't read a lot of like current stuff because I don't know if it's arrogance or what, but I'm just like, who is this person? Who are you to tell me anything about anything? So I have a hard time like.
So that's one reason I like nonfiction because I won't. So a lot of the self-help stuff I don't read, like, So I read, audiobook. I did. Have you ever listened to David Goggins or read David Goggins stuff? Super cool story. So dude was like 300 plus pounds in the Navy and like basically signed up for a 100-mile race and ran it till he broke both his feet. Dude, it was insane. But now the dude's like 150 pounds. He runs 30, 40 miles a day. Like, dude's a machine.
Yeah.
But like, it was all like his mindset changed, and him going through Navy SEAL training. That was one that like I got into that, and I listened to that when I was training for my ultra.
Yeah, and like there are certain like I don't mind like true stories or like inspirational stories, but when it's just
I can't listen to somebody like preachy like telling me how to live my life, because I'm like, what are you doing behind closed doors?
And that's and I like, for me, I like to read as an escape, so I like it to be like, I love Harry Potter, like I love not my daily life, not the daily stuff that I see, you know. I like. We'll
save the Harry Potter debate for later.
If you bash Harry Potter and Game of Thrones on the same episode, we will have no listeners ever. You cannot do that, but we don't have to talk about Harry Potter.
Speaking of the poll last time, I think it's 2-1. Michael Jackson sucks.
Well, I also heard that you were getting your stupid son's friends to get on there and say that let me just say this: anyone that comments that's under the age of 18, invalid.
We did not set those rules.
Well, I didn't think I had to set those rules, but I don't care about anyone's comment under the age of 18. Because they don't even know anything about Michael Jackson, so no.
Well, they shouldn't. All right,
anyways.
so you I asked you if you had any topics that you wanted to do for the podcast, and you decided that we should play. Go ahead.
Two Truths and a Lie, which I don't know how you've never heard of that game, but yeah, it's a way to like get to know people better, because I'm learning there's some things I say and you get shocked by it, and I'm like, you didn't know that about me?
Oh,
and
so for context, everybody, last night we do trivia night or game night basically once a week. Our families get together and everybody plays. Well, last night we decided to do was Newlywed Game.
Yeah, it was like
Newlywed Game. Me and my wife and Mary and Patrick, and basically we found out that our kids know more about each other than the spouses know about each other.
Yeah.
And every answer seemed to be a surprise to everyone.
Yeah.
Because I think we ended up with 1 point. You guys ended up with like 2 points.
Yeah.
But our son and her son were teamed up, and I think they won with like 4 or 5 points, which was ridiculous.
My two sons are the ones who won.
That's right,
My middle son and my youngest son, who like hate each other in real life, knew everything about each other. So
well, know thine enemy.
Yeah. I mean, they do spend a lot of time together, so it did make sense.
All right. So what are the ground rules for this?
So basically, you say 3 things, and two of them are true. One of them's a lie. The other person tries to figure out which one's the lie.
Okay. What if I tell 3 lies?
That defeats the purpose of the game. If you tell 3 lies, because I'm trying to learn information and also like eliminate things. You know, like if you, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it unless you do it.
Okay. Let's see. All right, you go first.
Well, it's hard.
Yeah, I know, right? You just put me on the spot. Like I feel like we should have planned this out a little bit.
All right, let me see. I play more than 3 instruments. I have 3 siblings. And I have been recorded for an episode of Cops.
Oh, God. Why do I feel like the cop one is definitely true? I'm going to say the 3 siblings, because you've only got 2, right?
I have 3.
You do have 3?
I have a brother and 2 sisters.
Okay. I thought you had 2.
I don't play more than 3 instruments. I only play 3 instruments.
Holy shit, so the cops thing is true.
Yeah, but I didn't.
We're not skipping over this.
I didn't actually make it over to the show, which I was really sad about. And the story's actually kind of lame, but it was terrifying when it happened. I was a senior in high school. Do you remember when they used to have country fair at the outdoor? I forget. I want to say it might be like Hi-Fi Buys now or something.
Oh, yeah, the amphitheater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they used to have country fair. They would have like all these country artists out there. I'm sure you were dying to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it would be like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday type thing, and you could get 3-day ticket, 1-day ticket, whatever. So a group of us, remember, we're all seniors in high school. We got a Friday night ticket or whatever. And we all went. And I was driving my mom's minivan because there were like 4 or 5 of us that went. And we went to country fair, and it was there. What did they used to call it?
It used to be Hi-Fi Buys Amphitheater.
Yeah.
Now I think it's Verizon Amphitheater or something like that.
Yeah. But anyways, you know where it is. Mm-hmm. It's in a pretty rough area.
Oh, that's Lakewood Amphitheater now.
Lakewood Amphitheater, yeah. So
we just went there to see Wu-Tang Clan a couple months ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, the venue's great, but the surrounding area, not great.
Yeah, it was pretty sketchy.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, this is back in 2004, so we don't have like GPS and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, MapQuest.
Right. So we're leaving the concert. It's crazy. They're like, blocking us off, making us go certain ways, whatever. I end up in the worst neighborhood right outside of Atlanta. A minivan full of girls. We're just stupid. Everyone's like screaming. I'm trying to just figure out where I am. So I see a cop car pulled off, but no lights are on or anything. So I flash my lights because I'm like, help me, please. I don't know where I am. Oh my gosh. So this guy gets out. I pull up kind of close behind him. This cop gets out, and all of a sudden this guy with a camera and this huge light comes around with the cop, and they're in my face, my window's down. And so the cop's standing there, and this guy with this camera and this light, and I was like, we just need help, and he was like, oh, we're filming cops right now, and he's shining his little light in the back, and then I'm like, no, legitimately, we're just lost, we just came from a concert, we just need help. So he actually guided us, I followed him to the highway, but he was like, we're not going to use, because he was going to get us to sign consents or whatever, he's like, we're not going to use this was not, I'm like, yeah, it was really boring, just a bunch of stupid high school girls in a van, lost.
Okay. Okay. All right, so 2 truths and a lie. Let's see. I've been on ESPN. Let's see. As an athlete, by the way, why is this so hard? I'm trying to think of something that would either be easy or hard. Let's see. I only have 7 toes, real ones, and I love applesauce.
I think the lie is the toes. Because I feel like I've seen your feet before, and I would have noticed, I think, if you're missing a toe. Actually, you do always wear socks. I still think it's the toe. It's the lie.
Yes, toes.
So you love applesauce? I didn't.
Yeah, applesauce is amazing.
Okay, well, I didn't know that.
Who doesn't love applesauce?
So I learned something about you. What was the other one?
ESPN.
The athlete one, yeah. Was it for some race or something?
Yeah, actually, I was at Spartan Race World Championship in Asheville.
Nice. All right.
It was like Angie kept it saved on our DVR. It was literally a flash of me on the screen, and you could barely tell it was me. But I was like, "Oh shit, that's me on ESPN.
Cool,
that's awesome."
Cool, though.
It was back when they used to when Spartan Race first got big. They were doing their World Championship, and we ended up getting hooked up with their camera guy while we were running Asheville. That was a terrible race. God, it was so hot and long and terrible, and somehow we got hooked up with the camera guy, and we ended up crossing paths and stuff, and he just kept recording us.
That's cool though.
You going again?
Let me think. Do I have any more?
Or do you want to do 1 set per episode? We'll be more prepared next time, I think.
I think so too. Yeah.
Let's just do 1 set per episode.
Okay.
Because I have a feeling I'm going to get beat up for dead air by my son, because that's what he mentioned on the first one. He's like, it would
At
have
least
been
he
great.
watches it. My kids don't watch it, I don't think. I don't know that maybe they do. I don't know.
Let's see.
I have a topic if you want a topic.
Uh,
I don't know if we can talk about it, though.
oh, okay.
I don't know.
Why wouldn't we be able to talk about it?
I don't know. I don't know what our,
Go ahead and say it. I'll cut it out if we can't talk about it.
like, male birth control.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. Can we talk about it?
Are you afraid to say penis on the
No,
internet?
I'm not. I just don't know if it's like, is it controversial? I don't know.
Is it controversial?
I don't think so.
Are we talking like the ball cream stuff?
I'm talking about anything. Anything that would make my boys temporarily sterile would be fantastic.
Oh, you're a proponent of this.
Oh, absolutely.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
Like temporary sterilization? Like,
yes.
how do you know it's not, or how do you know it's reversible? We might be getting into a bad area, but we're gonna see
Well,
where it goes.
Okay, so female birth control, temporary sterilization.
Yeah, so I'm not a huge proponent for female birth control. I think anytime that you're messing with hormones, it's dangerous.
So, well, the whole thing is, the thing that doesn't make any sense to me, and I know other people have said it, but so a woman can get pregnant one time in a year. She can produce one child in a 12-month period, basically. I mean,
Because y'all are slower at everything.
Okay.
If men were giving birth, we would at least 3 times a year.
how many children can a man produce in a span of a year?
Oh, thousands.
Right.
Well, it depends on the guy, but
Right. So,
industrious guys could knock out 1,000 or so.
so in the world
Yeah.
of humans, we've decided the one that can only have one every year is definitely the one we need to make sure doesn't have that one every year. Not the one that can have gazillions.
All right. See. Okay. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you keep going.
And I know why. I know why it's always been women. Like, I get it. I know the history of the world, and I understand that. But can we evolve? Can we?
Well, so I think we need to devolve. I mean, so that sounds weird, but you're gonna get me on like an Andrew Tate soapbox here,
I don't know who that is.
where do you not get on the internet at all?
No, I don't watch any news. I
Okay.
don't know anything about anything.
Anyway, so what I think the problem is promiscuity between people nowadays. Like I think it needs to be tempered back. So here we go getting serious on the podcast again. We go
I
from
said, I don't know
talking
if we're
about my
allowed to
7
talk
toes.
about it or not.
So I really think it's a real issue where kids are devaluing sex so much that they're always looking for the quick, easy way out, like the plan B, or like, do we know any long-term side effects of some girl going out and taking 12 plan B pills?
Not only do they not know, they don't care.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and even the male contraception, like there are creams and stuff out there that are supposed to temporarily sterilize men.
Yeah.
But even that, like, we don't know the long-term effects. Like we are not doctors. Well, you're a nurse, so
But not a doctor.
so do not take any of this as medical advice ever, please.
Yeah.
But I really think that, and thankfully, I feel like my kids are not like just out there trying to get it 24/7. I don't know if your boys are.
Now we all know Grayson hasn't even kissed his girlfriend. It's
Yeah.
been 6 months, so no, they're not.
God, you're
out
gonna
there.
put that out there, Mary? I'm gonna have to.
not
Grayson,
gonna
I'm
watch.
sorry. I will blur that out. I'll bleep it. I'm not
Saying
letting you
he's
do
not-
that to that poor
He's
boy.
not gonna be that guy. Like, I don't think any of my boys are gonna.
Well,
be
so
that guy.
and honestly, it gives me a lot of hope for the next generation that they are becoming more conservative with that kind of thing. Like, I think anyway. Like, I think they're almost ignoring all the Instagram and the Snapchat and all that stuff and being better about it.
But when it comes to birth control, I mean, the majority of girls, teenage girls that get put on birth control, are not put on birth control to prevent pregnancy.
Correct. Hormones.
They're put on birth control because they have quote unquote bad periods.
Yes.
Which I've had terrible periods my whole life. I'm not saying it doesn't.
Oh, my
exist.
daughter's on birth control for that reason.
Right. The problem is, why is that our go-to?
Oh, I agree.
And if you want to do it from the unwanted pregnancy point of view, then you need to look at the boys. Period. That's not an argument. If you're worried about unwanted pregnancies or you're worried, look at the ones that can have 100 babies a minute.
Yeah.
Don't look at us because we're not the ones.
I don't know about a minute. Like, I need a sandwich in between.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just stupid. That argument doesn't make sense. But if you're looking at it from, like, oh, they have bad periods. Okay, what's going on? Like, why are all of our hormones so jacked up? We know why. It's because of what we freaking eat.
Yeah, it's the food.
Right. We know that. But something needs to give because what I'm seeing so I had kids young. I had kids, I never went on birth control.
Okay.
Because for my parents were very conservative. My mom thought if she put me on birth control, I was going to go have sex with everybody I could.
Well, that's our generation was the minute you get birth, if you ask your parents for birth control, it's because you want to have sex.
Exactly. So that was not an option for me, even though I had really bad periods. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really care because those periods were all that I knew. So I didn't know that there was a better option. I didn't know. And so I was never on birth control. Had all of my kids, like, no problem. The second I wanted a baby, I was pregnant. Like, no problem. But a lot of people my age that waited later to have kids that had been on birth control since they were like, 14, 15, and now they're like 26 coming off of birth control. If they didn't get pregnant within like that first 1 to 2 months straight coming off, they had trouble getting pregnant.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, because your body has been altered for a decade.
So it's like men going on, guys, bodybuilders and stuff going on a TRT cycle, right? If you go on test, it's going to stop your natural production. And there's no starting it back up. Like, unless you're taking like strong cycles to come off of that, like there's post cycles too, that'll start your system back up. Like, it shuts off. Like, there's no coming back from it. So,
that's kind of what I mean. I feel like for females, I feel like we're already our ability to have children is already so much more complicated than men. Like, we only have a certain number of eggs. We're never going to get more than whatever we are born with.
Lame.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't regenerate those eggs. Those eggs expire. They age. Whereas you guys regenerate your shit constantly.
Like, what's...
Yeah, I mean,
do we flip y'all upside down to look for the date?
That's why they don't like women having babies in older age, because the egg is deteriorating. You guys regenerate new stuff all the time. So it doesn't make any sense to me that we are continuing. I mean, my God, it's been like 200 years and we're still looking at women for everything, for almost all birth control. Yes, there are condoms. Condoms are irrelevant.
Well, I think it's because society has let men go so far to where we say men are uncontrollable, that they're just going to go out and do it anyway, that we need the women to take control of it. And,
even more reason to temporarily
I think that was kind of I think that was almost a product of, I don't want to say classical feminism, but the whole women's liberation movement of we're going to be sexually liberated and take control of our whatever. Like, I think that's when that whole birth control explosion really started.
And it did because, and that's what I mean, I know the history of it, and I understand that it was originally meant to help women not be stuck with, unwanted pregnancies and have to go through all that. But, I mean, look where we are now, and look, like, our birth control is basically the same. Like, I mean, they have IUDs, which are horrible, because I've had one. Oh, a nightmare.
Angie almost died.
Yeah, they're horrible. And, I mean, even now, like, I'm 35. I'm about to be 36 years old. I have 3 children. My youngest child is 8 years old. And I have been begging for a freaking hysterectomy. No one will do it. Why?
Yeah, I mean, that's thankfully, well, I say thankfully, like, Angie had some issues come up, and it happened not long after we had Paul, our son, where we were able to convince them just go ahead and do the hysterectomy, because we had 2 perfectly healthy kids.
Yeah.
10 fingers, 10 toes each.
Yeah.
I had to say each because they don't each walk around with 5 fingers. But, yeah, I mean, they were perfectly healthy. Like, we're okay. We're good. Like, 2 is all we need. Like, I look at you with 3 and think you're insane. Like, but sometimes 2 is too many.
But it drives me crazy because it's like, I feel like because the focus has always been on women.
Yeah.
And and again, I'm not like a raging feminist or anything like that, but the majority of decisions and research and advancement and development, especially in the medical field, is male driven. So they're not ever going to really look at like, oh, what could we do? It's like, no, you just keep putting it on us. And I mean, many of us, by the time we're in our mid 30s, we're having gynecological problems. And whether it's because our hormones have been jacked up since we were 13, which they have, they've been jacked up our whole lives because of how we eat. But also,
well, and that's so. I think like your generation, or well, our generation, was like I say yours because you're a girl, but was like the last one that had any semblance of real food, like coming into the 80s. Like the 90s, like fast food went crazy. Like we went from being an ingredient house to a package house.
But like
right?
I was in an ingredient house. My parents, we didn't do.
You had to have been. Quick aside, like last night we were having chili, and she goes, "Sorry, we're out of sour cream." And I was like, "Why don't you just make some?" I didn't know you could actually make sour cream at home. She looks it up on the internet and goes, "I think I have all these ingredients. I'll just make some sour cream." I'm like, whoa.
I want to do it next time. I only had what is it?
You had white wine vinegar instead of white vinegar.
And I was like, is it the same? Y'all screamed at me.
No, it's definitely not the same.
It may have worked. You don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, I grew up in a house like that. There were 4 of us, so we very rarely went out to eat. We didn't have a lot of fast food. And, you know, but, I mean, I had school lunches, which that was pre-Michelle Obama, so nobody cared about anything in the lunches. So who knows what I was eating and all those things. But
which I'll tell you, like, I jumped around schools a lot, so I got to see, like, the rich schools and the poor schools.
Yeah.
There was a vast disparity between what you got at one school versus the other.
Well, you know where I went to school.
Like,
so.
it was crazy. Like, when we lived in Tennessee, the school that we went to up there had, you know, real high funding from all the sports teams and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, they had, you know, sponsored lunches and everything. Like, it was... The cafeteria food was amazing. Came back down here, and you know the slop we got at Newton.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not that to bash the schools. I mean, I loved my schools. I had a great education, whatever. But I don't know what I was eating. I mean, half the time you couldn't even tell what it was.
That square pizza was amazing, though, wasn't it?
Square pizza, and they always had the corn.
Dude.
I mean, that was our meal. Our meal was a piece of pizza, corn, a piece of Texas toast, and what else did they put in there? Oranges?
Yeah, I think we always got oranges or applesauce or something, some kind of fruit.
And it's like, what is that? Like, who eats that as a
there was always
meal?
the pizza line and the burger line.
You're talking about at Newton.
Yeah, at Newton. So I would go to the burger line and get like 2 burgers and then go around to the pizza line and get a pizza.
Well, you were gone from Newton before it got real wild.
Oh, yeah.
With the overcrowding.
Yeah.
So my 11th and 12th grade year at Newton, you couldn't get food in your lunch period. It wasn't long enough. The lines for the food were so long that you couldn't eat your meal. You couldn't even get food.
Really?
No.
Well, so even when I was there, I kind of skipped a lot around lunch. Well, we would tend to hang out through all the lunch periods.
What would happen is if you were standing in line when the bell rang for your lunch to be over, they gave you a voucher saying that you could be late to class because you didn't get lunch.
That's insane.
So, but the thing is, you're still you don't even have your food yet.
Yeah.
Like, you're still standing there. So I gave up on eating lunch 11th and 12th grade because it was insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was nuts. But yeah, back to the birth control thing. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it always being on women. I think that it's time to shift the focus. Why don't we harass you guys for everything for a little while? That's how I feel. I got to cough.
I mean, we can definitely shift the focus that way, but I think the focus needs to shift towards, I hate saying like the old preachy word abstinence, but more of a social responsibility.
Absolutely, but I agree. But that's a huge, very intricate thing to manipulate.
You don't think manipulating hormones is huge and intricate?
Yeah, it is. But let's do it to you guys for a little while and come off of us. Like,
I mean, I'm okay with it, but
because I mean, here's the thing. Like, if I had a
we could talk about male genital mutilation too.
Oh, well, I have another topic that I did a paper about for school that was really interesting about like chemical and non-chemical castration for sex offenders.
Oh, I was going more towards like circumcision, but okay.
Oh, well, I can talk about circumcision if you want to. But, I think about it. Like, if I had a daughter, if I had a teenage daughter, and I thought she was going to be kind of, like, promiscuous, because a lot of girls are really the aggressors at that age.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, that's just the truth. So I would probably put her on something, get her an implant or something. Because
Those implants are
I know.
sketchy.
I know. But one, I don't have any options because I don't want her to get pregnant and she's too stupid to make a decision. So, if I felt that she was going to be one of those girls, that's what I would do. Well, if
Your hypothetical daughter's too
yes,
stupid.
I don't have any daughters.
Got
So. But if I had a son who I thought was going to be promiscuous,
Read.
I have no options for this child except for to hope that a boy, a 15-year-old idiot boy, is going to think clearly enough in a moment of about to have sex to use a condom. That's my best hope for. And it's like, that's ridiculous. And that's ridiculous that that's all that I have is just a hope. Hand him a condom. Make good decisions with your idiot 15-year-old mind.
They should print that on every condom just as make good decisions.
and it
Love mom.
me because people are like, then parents are like, oh, I would never do this to I wouldn't let my daughter be on birth control. It's like, if I bet you would if she was complaining about other issues, non-sex related, but other issues, you'd put her on it in a heartbeat. So I don't know. It just drives me crazy.
I just like that this is what got you fired up today.
It gets me fired up every time because what happens is a girl, it can be a promiscuous girl who then is the aggressor to my son. She's pushing. He ends up having sex with her, knocking her up. He's the bad guy. He's irresponsible. He shouldn't have done that. This poor little girl got pregnant. And it's like, oh my gosh.
And he has no say in any decision going forward.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, it's just outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole men's rights issue, but...
Well, the whole thing about, a woman has a right to end a pregnancy. A man doesn't have a right to walk away from that pregnancy.
No, absolutely not.
A woman can say, yes or no, I want this baby. A man can't say, yes or no, I want this baby.
Correct.
So...
Because even if the woman... so now we are getting into a bit of a touchy subject, but if a woman says, I definitely do not want to have this baby, but that kid's family, that 14-year-old or 15-year-old kid's family goes, he wants to, he doesn't believe in abortion.
Right.
His family doesn't, whatever. They have no say-so.
No.
The father, the parents of the father, like knowing that child would still grow up in a loving home, no say-so whatsoever.
Yeah. They have 100% of the responsibility and 0% of the choice.
Yeah.
Or 0% of the decision.
Yeah.
Rights or anything, but all of the responsibility. And having...
Because if you flip that, he's paying for that child for 18 years.
Right.
Whether he has a job or not.
Whether he wants it or not, whether he...
And if he doesn't have a job, they'll lock him up.
Yeah.
Where he can't get a job.
Right. And I know that I'm a woman saying this, but I'm raising 3 men. They're going to be men. So I'm having to not only teach them everything about, but I'm also, don't trust a girl who tells you she's on birth control. She's probably not. And then she's going to get knocked up and then you're going to pay her for the rest of your life. All of these crazy things I'm having to teach my boys because I don't have any other option. If I could just make them sterile until they want to get married, I would do it.
So, I did hear something about this the other day. Like, there's literally like a switch. Like, it's a cream, some hormone thing that's basically like a switch that will turn it off and turn it back on again.
But then again, do they have to have the wherewithal to apply this cream to their balls before they do it?
I don't know all the details about it, but I don't think it's like a per time application.
But I don't know. It's really very frustrating to me because one, I'm fearful of my boys growing up to be men and the way men are treated now. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when they're adults. That's scary to me. But I'm just constantly trying to teach them, one, how to treat women.
Yeah.
But 2, keep them at arm's length because I am a woman and I can tell you, keep your distance because women are really, really, really good manipulators. And
You notice I did not
especially when
say
it comes
anything there.
to men.
Yeah.
No, it is. I mean, that's why we know how to manipulate men. It just is what it is. So all I can do is try to teach my boys.
On the topic of teaching, like kind of a quick transition, but like, do you ever look back? Because I do this constantly. Like, I didn't have the best childhood, right? And I remember when I was like, 10 or 11, just like thinking like, man, my parents are like just screwing up and blah, blah, blah. Like, now being the age of what my parents were when I was thinking they were screwing up, like, I realize I don't know shit.
Yeah.
Like, we're just out here raw dogging the world because we don't know shit.
Yeah.
Like, so now I'm looking back at all these times where I'm thinking like, man, my parents are just as stupid as I am right now. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, I think about that so my parents were, so my mom had her third child at 27 and I had my third child at 27. And I think about growing up, I was that third child that she had at 27.
Yeah.
I think about like my 8-year-old, it's gonna, like, that's the same relationship.
Yeah,
And I'm like, man, like, I feel like I'm still like my mom's child. Like, I don't feel like I'm like
an adult.
now I'm the mom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh,
So that's
I'm the one that has to do this.
Basically, Paul. So I think my mom was 20 and my dad, I think, was 21, 22 when they had me, which is close to what I think I was 20 when we had Paul, 19 or 20, something like that. Yeah, because we had Sarah. Yeah. So I think I was 20. But anyway, so that's kind of the same age gap between Paul and I and me and my dad. I'm thinking back to like the shit that I was doing when I was Paul's age. Like, I don't know how I would handle that.
Yeah.
Because I was a dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, and me and my
I
dad
was
used to
very
get into like
dickhead.
fist fights. Like, it was bad.
Well,
And I wish Paul would swing on me sometimes.
no, I was a good kid and I had a good childhood and everything. So, but my parents, I never realized how young and naive and stuff my parents were having us.
And we thought we would have it all worked out by the time we were this age.
And I would look at them and be like, oh my God, get it together. And like now I'm older than them and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to do anything. Or, you just feel so. And my siblings and I talk about that all the time. Like, we always thought that we were poor growing up because we didn't ever have as much as our friends had. But looking back, I'm like, how did my parents pay for the stuff they paid for? There were 4 of us.
Yeah.
And like, my mom's a scrub tech. Like, she works in the hospital. She makes okay money, but it's not great. And then my dad worked in like logistics. He managed a warehouse. So it's not like anybody's making tons of money, but they bought us all cars. Not great cars, but cars. They paid for our insurance. We went on vacations. Like, we all had braces.
The vacations is what I can't,
Yeah.
That's what trips me out the most is, like, I take 2 kids on vacation. When I was living with my dad, when I was, 14, 15, there was me, I had a stepbrother, and 2 half-siblings. So there was 4 of us there. And I look back at, like, man, how did we all fit in that house? Like, like, we rode around in an Astro van because there was too many of us. Like, and going on vacation was like, I know prices are a little bit higher now than they were back then, but holy crap.
I know. We talk about, I'm like, I don't know how mom and dad did it. And all 4 of us had braces. I don't know how they did that. I'm about to have 2 in braces, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And me and my husband make a lot more money than my parents ever made.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they did. I've asked my mom before, and she's like, I don't know. We just were in debt all the time. And I'm like, I guess so. Like, but they, it's just, you just feel like such a jerk when you get old enough to realize it.
Yeah.
Here I was mad because I didn't have all the crap that my friends had, and my parents are like literally killing themselves just to give me, what I did have. It's just nuts.
I mean, I'm a second-generation high school dropout.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, my dad didn't finish. Actually, I think, no, my mom did graduate. Yeah, she graduated. But yeah, my dad didn't finish either. And I don't think he got his GED until he was like 28, 29 or something like that. Because, back then he was working maintenance. So he didn't, like they didn't require it. Like it wasn't a thing. But yeah, he got his GED late. But I would say that I think our intelligence level was a little bit different. Like he was very mechanically smart, where I'm mechanically intelligent, but more I don't know, sciencey.
Yeah.
But yeah, like thinking back on those things, it's like it's super weird to like see the disparity between what we thought we would be at this age and what we are. It's like I just remember thinking like, man, when I'm your age, I'm going to know everything. Like, how do you not know this?
I know. Well, like even Christmas, Christmas just came and went, and I still have one who we're doing Santa and all that for, the little one. And my parents were with us Christmas Eve. They spent the night with us, and we're getting ready to go to bed. Kids were already in bed or whatever. And my mom's like, "Do you have a lot to do?" And I was like, "Well, luckily we've wrapped everything, so I just have to like write the note, do this, put it this, do whatever, do all this stuff." And I'm thinking to myself, like, she did that for so many years. Yeah. So I'm telling her as if she doesn't know the crap that I have to do, and she's looking at me like, "I know, I did it for however long," because my younger sister's 6 years younger than me. So my parents had to do Santa for like freaking ever because.
Well, and y'all were all in like band and chorus and all kinds of stuff too, right?
All kinds. That's another thing. So my dad worked all the time.
Yeah,
my dad worked in downtown Atlanta. So my dad left work at like 5 a.m. and my dad got home from work at like 7:30 p.m. I don't know how my mom in one car drove. We did dance. We did soccer. My brother did t-ball. We did. I did Oxford Singing Children. You remember the little? I think they're called something different now.
Yeah. They sang at the Christmas thing.
Yeah,
right?
Oxford Youth Choir. So it used to be Oxford Singing Children. We were in Oxford Singing Children, which did like plays. We were in band. Everything, and I'm like. And another thing, I was always bitter when I was a kid because I was constantly having to ride with people.
Yeah.
Like all the time. And it was annoying because then you're like in a weird car and you're like, whatever. Yeah, no wonder. I had a mom trying to run 4 kids to 400 places. So she was constantly throwing us in somebody else's car.
That was when I started driving because I was the oldest in that house. When I started driving, it was like, okay, you need to run this. And like even now, like with Sarah, once she started driving, it was like, hey, like, can you run to the store real quick and grab this? And we've only got 2.
Yeah.
And neither of them really do a whole lot else, like extracurricular stuff.
I can't wait till Grayson's drive. I've already told him so for next year he'll get his license. Hopefully, if he gets his license, let's all say a little prayer for that. But
as long as he doesn't have to take a tax test to get there.
He failed his learners the first time. He had to take that twice. Yeah. So it's like, oh god. So, anyways, because if he. So then he can help, because Reed's going to try to play football for high school. So he can help shuffle him, which will take a huge load off of us, because it's going to be an everyday thing. So, and I've already told him, I'm like, I'll help you with gas and stuff, but like you're going to be driving your brothers. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do with Sarah. We'll throw a little bit of money in her account or whatever. Just, you run around and do the things. Yeah.
Grayson has an interview tomorrow.
Oh, yeah? At Ace?
At Subway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one?
The Hub.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be stopping by there every day.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Get a meatball sub.
Oh,
but I want it with no sauce. I want him to wash all the meatballs before he puts them on the sandwich.
He'd probably do it. He's actually pretty like accommodating because he's used to me. I'm very bossy and demanding all the time, so he's used to that.
Well, I mean, that's shit. We're just at about an hour. You got anything?
Too serious though?
I mean, I'm good with it.
All right.
I mean, we get a little bit of serious. We get a little bit of fun.
I don't hate women. I don't hate men. I don't like.
I hate everybody.
I'm just looking at everybody's point of view. I'm sick of women's bodies being manipulated, and I think it's messed up. And I'm sick of men being held accountable for children they have no rights to. So I'm.
The men's rights thing has been a kind of a newer argument, I think, that's starting to get a little bit more traction. Just because the women's rights thing is popping back up, I think that a lot more men's rights groups are actually starting to speak out. And honestly, it's kind of refreshing that a lot of them are women.
Yeah.
There's a lot of women speaking up for men's rights and it's more conservative women. And I don't really consider myself conservative or liberal or like
Yeah.
I'm do your thing and just leave me the hell alone.
Yeah. And
I'm a firm believer in personal responsibility.
Yes.
You have to take responsibility for your actions. Period. End of story. Nobody else can change your fate but you. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think growing up as a woman, I probably had different views. Now that I'm raising sons, shifts it a little bit. Because
Yeah.
it's like, I just think about, their future. And it changes the perspective a little bit. Even though if you would have asked me before I had sons, I would have been very anti-men's rights. But
Did you want girls?
I did, but I'm really glad I didn't have any.
So be perfectly honest. Did you ever put a pink bow on any of them?
No. The only thing, I'm trying to think. I did a lot of crazy things with them when they were babies. Like, Grayson had a lot of hair, so I would put like a
He's still got a lot of hair, like that kid, man.
Yeah. And Garrett had a lot of hair too. Garrett was, he was so stinking cute. But no, I never really, Patrick's crazy about that kind of stuff. He
Yeah, I could see that.
Grayson was 2 and he wanted his nails painted, and I painted one of his hands blue. It's not like I painted pink or anything. And Patrick was like, "Oh my God." It's like, I'm not going to turn him gay because I painted his nails. Just get over it. So, but Patrick settled down a lot with that too. But
Patrick strikes me as very classically masculine.
Yes.
He's not overtly masculine, but he's very classical.
He is, but then he is obsessed with musicals, and he loves to sing along with musicals. So he has these weird little.
Yeah, but I think if you go back to classical masculinity, in Shakespearean times, all the actors and actresses were all it was men playing women's parts and stuff.
True.
I think that classical masculinity gets overshadowed a lot by the overt masculinity.
Yeah.
The toxic masculinity.
Yeah. He's such a. Cal and I were talking about that today. He's such a good.
Oh, it
balance.
Almost freaked me out last night when he started talking about musicals and shit.
Oh yeah, he's such a good balance of a man though, because he's very outdoorsy. He's very knowledgeable about stuff.
He's super industrious too.
Yes.
He will fix almost to a fault. He will try to fix everything before just getting something else.
When you look at him, he looks like this businessman, like this.
I think there's
guy.
a good quality of that.
Yeah. So he's really good, and he loves. He Beauty and the Beast is one of his favorite movies of all time, and
I hate Beauty and the Beast so much.
But the boy also can tie 150 different kind of knots. He's a really good mix of masculinity. He's very secure, which is
honestly, I think that's a great trait, and it's one of those things that I struggled with for a long time, was actually being comfortable doing non-traditionally masculine things, almost to a fault, where if somebody asked me to go do this or whatever, no, that's too girly or whatever. I don't know. I've kind of opened up a lot more in my 30s to a lot of that stuff, but I think it's good that men are becoming more well-rounded in general. I think it's necessary.
Oh, definitely. And a lot of guys are really creative, and they really like more of an artistic side of things. That it doesn't mean they're gay, or if they are, it doesn't matter.
Oh, have you dove into the woodworking and stuff on YouTube? These dudes are putting out some amazing stuff.
No, but a lot of men are very creative and very artistic.
See, I wish I was more creative. I get into the technical side of things, and the creative stuff eludes me.
Well, I can be, if I feel like it. I'm an Etch-a-Sketch artist, so.
You're a sketch artist?
An Etch-a-Sketch artist. You didn't know that either?
No. How did this not come up on Two Truths and a Lie?
I don't know. I guess I thought you've seen some of them.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So we need to bring an Etch-a-Sketch next time, and I'm going to make you draw something while we're recording.
That's fine. I do better with
Are we talking the square house with the triangle roof?
No. I'll show you something.
I can do that. I can draw a boat.
I do better with like landscape, or like I can do animals, flowers, things like that.
Yeah, that's way outside of my Etch-a-Sketch capabilities.
I'll show you some after this is over. So
Cool.
You can understand what I'm talking about.
Bam, number 3 in the books.
Oh yeah, we went. Yeah.
We're right at an hour. Let's do it.
Oh good.
Cut it.